A couple of days before the 2019 NBA Finals, Clippers coach Doc Rivers made a bold statement on ESPN, saying that Kawhi Leonard is the most like Michael Jordan he's ever seen. A few days later, Kawhi's college teammate LaBradford Franklin told The Athletic, quote, on his phone, his background was Michael Jordan. He would always say, "I'm Mike. You like LeBron? You like Kobe? Yeah, they're cool, but I'm Mike. I want to be the best, the greatest." Hi everybody, this is Anthony, and my first NBA talk is inspired by the mentioned statements. I'm going to compare Kawhi's NBA career to Michael Jordan's at the age of 27. Starting with the physical comparison, Kawhi has been taller and much heavier than MJ. The combination of size, mobility, and strength allowed Leonard to guard physical players, to overpower lighter defenders, and to play at power forward for some minutes, especially in the playoffs. On the other hand, Michael joined the league at 195 pounds. He did basic basketball training without lifting weights, but the 1989 playoff loss to the physical Pistons let him consider training with Tim Grover for a trial period of 1 month. And yes, it would ultimately transform into 15 years. In normal situations, the wingspan in males exceeds the height by 2 inches. In this case, Jordan's wingspan is above the average for a 6'6" man, but Kawhi's is so massive that it is even larger than Tyson Chandler's. That said, Kawhi's arms allow him to cover a bigger volume than Jordan's, giving Kawhi a better opportunity to get rebounds, to deflect low passes, and to bother shooters without leaving the ground. In his first couple of seasons, Michael wasn't very disciplined on defense, helping one pass away on multiple occasions. Although he ranked 4th in steals per game as a rookie, he took high risks by playing the passing lanes. He used to leave his man and surprise the postman with a steal attempt. This tactic had little success at the time. Ironically, the same tactic would steal the ball from Karl Malone in the final seconds of the 1998 Finals. After missing most of his sophomore season with a broken foot, Jordan did improve his man-to-man defense in his 3rd and took it to a different level in his 4th. He enhanced his post defense, and although he continued to gamble, he made better steal attempts. He improved his defensive rebounding and even provided rim protection, especially as a help defender. His exceptional leap allowed him to intercept high passes too, and because of his improved footwork on the ball, he managed to lock down point guards including Magic Johnson. For example, on December 19, 1989, Jordan's defense held Magic to 6 of 16 shooting. As a result, Magic had his offensive rating way below his season average, and so did the Lakers. This Lakers team would finish the regular season at the top of the league in offensive rating. Coming to Kawhi, despite some struggles in his rookie year, he was regarded as a potential defensive star, especially with his amazing rebounding for a small forward. When guarding a non-scoring threat, Kawhi took advantage of his quick hands, quick feet, and long arms, slapping the penetrating guard's ball and going for blocks. In addition to his ability to read passes and to react to screens, Kawhi displayed his disruptive on-ball defense even against elite players. In his sophomore season, Kawhi became a master of blocking players when they penetrate off the dribble. When needed, he knew how to steer his man into help defense. 3 games into the 2013 NBA Finals, he held LeBron to below 17 points per game on 39% shooting, well below his averages prior to that series. In the last 2 rounds of the 2014 playoffs, Kawhi spent 11 straight games guarding Kevin Durant and LeBron James and had a huge impact in the Spurs' 8-3 record. Kawhi's average in steals drastically improved in the 2014-15 season. Unlike many others, he rarely relied on leaving his man open and playing passing lanes. In his last 3 seasons as a Spur, Kawhi was a top 3 Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Although he became his team's leading scorer since 2015, his coaches still relied on him to slow down elite offensive players at any of the first 4 positions. In the 2019 Eastern Conference Finals, with the Raptors down 2-0 to Milwaukee, Coach Nick Nurse decided to put Leonard on regular season MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo. In the next 4 games, Kawhi's defense held the Greeks' points per 100 possessions well below the average. This matchup also affected the Bucks' points per 100 possessions big time and most importantly took the Raptors to the NBA Finals. Looking at some advanced stats, it's clear that Kawhi wins the comparison in the detailed defensive metrics. Let's also take a look at the basic defensive stats per 100 possessions considering the changes in pace and playing time. Jordan averaged fewer defensive rebounds than Kawhi, but his riskier steal attempts resulted in more interceptions. He also averaged more blocks because of his enormous vertical. Note that Kawhi made the NBA All-Defensive teams 5 times in his 7 full seasons compared to Jordan's 3 for 5. So at the end of this section, considering what's been said so far, we can conclude that Kawhi was a better defender than 1984-90 MJ. In 2011, Kawhi joined the San Antonio Spurs, who came off a 61-win season with the second best offensive rating in the league. He entered the NBA with limited offensive skills as his ball handling was a big question and his three-point shooting was a concern. However, he would eventually crush the expectations, converting 38% of his threes and displaying elite handles for a small forward, especially as a Raptor. In the beginning, Leonard was a 3-and-D specialist with a solid interior game, taking about half of his shots from the corner 3 and the restricted area where he excelled as an offensive rebounder. With the Spurs' big 3 getting closer to retirement, Leonard's shots per game increased every year, and so did his efficiency as his field goal percentage remained close to 50%. His offensive game progressively changed, his usage rate continued to grow, and the percentage of assisted field goals continued to drop. In his sophomore season and playoffs, he had a go-to move in stopping and spinning away and took advantage of his size and strength to post up smaller defenders. In the 2013 NBA Finals, he generated offense by going coast to coast and aggressively attacked off the dribble within the flow of the Spurs offense. He was also dominant on the offensive glass and even took shots as a pick-and-roll screener. Fast forward to the last 3 games of the 2014 NBA Finals, Leonard averaged just under 24 points on scary shooting percentages and more than 2 made threes per game. He also had an impressive average of about 6.5 free throw attempts. After a rough start in the 2014-15 season, Kawhi got some momentum starting from February 28, scoring 20-plus points in 6 straight games for the first time in his career. In the final 2 months of the regular season, he led the Spurs in scoring with 19 points per game on 54% from the field and made 41% of his threes. His game already included post moves, turnaround jumpers, push shots and floaters in the lane among others. Despite the Spurs' acquisition of LaMarcus Aldridge in 2015, Leonard led the Spurs in scoring and made the All-NBA first team in the next 2 seasons. His offensive game became more complete as he averaged elite numbers in points per possession on spot-ups, post-ups, isolations, and pick-and-rolls. Although his average in drives per game sharply rose, he still had the tendency to take jump shots when going left on isolations and pick-and-rolls much more often than to drive. In the 2019 playoffs, Kawhi carried the heaviest load of his career, ranking 3rd in scoring with an elite average of 30.5 points per game and an impressive true shooting percentage of 62%. Although Kawhi had displayed signs of improved court vision earlier in the season, he didn't reach the 9-assist mark before the 5th game of the Eastern Conference Finals, in which all of his dimes led to threes. On the other hand, Jordan joined a lottery Bulls team that was second to last in offensive rating. In his first 6 seasons, he dealt with 4 coaches, 3 of whom let him run the offense. When Jordan joined the league in 1984, he had a lot of weapons in his game already. His first step allowed him to get past defenders with ease and was so quick that many people thought he was getting away with uncalled travels. His vertical leap reportedly reached 48 inches, and Michael would make free throw dunks look as easy as smashing the like button and subscribing to the channel. In addition to his leap, His huge hands and IQ let him score countless shots with a sky-high level of difficulty, double-clutching jump shots, posterizing giants, finding openings in traffic, and adjusting shots in the air at various angles. His aggressiveness earned him about 10 free throws per game, but his capabilities sometimes backfired on his team, as he often preferred taking heavily contested shots over passing to less talented players. He would later find his fadeaway jumper and become more dangerous with his footwork and pump fakes. His improved jump shot would make easier for him to go by defenders since they'd have to play him closer. In season number 6, Jordan even ranked in the top 12 in made threes and made the top 12 in three-point percentage among the players who made at least a three per game. In the 1986 playoffs, MJ made an image of himself as a super player against the Boston Celtics, who had the best record and the best defensive rating in the league, setting all-time playoff records with 63 points in Game 2 and just under 44 points per game in this series. In April 1987, Jordan won his first of 7 straight scoring titles and joined Will Chamberlain as the only players to score 3,000 points in a single season. In his 4th NBA season, Michael took fewer shots and compiled more assists. He improved his decision-making by controlling defenders with his eyes and reading where the double team was coming from. As a result, the Bulls reached the 50-win mark for the first time in 14 years, and Jordan became the 4th guard to win the regular season MVP award. He also became the first ever to score 50-plus points in consecutive playoff games. After being promoted to head coach, Phil Jackson installed the triangle offense involving all balls, taking advantage of Jordan as a bigger offensive threat in the post, and would eventually compromise between the triangle and Jordan's creative and instinctive play. The players would continuously exchange positions in the post as the defense rotated. As a result, Jordan rotated without the ball numerous times, and defenders did not double or triple team Michael as often. On March 28, 1990, Jordan had a career-high 69 points against the Cavaliers, who surprisingly single-teamed him. Jordan shot so many times because the defense left him open. Ironically, Jordan's hot shooting made it hard for his teammates to step up when needed. In a nutshell, the change in Jordan's playing style benefited his teammates, as Scottie Pippen made his first All-Star appearance, Horace Grant improved his scoring average, and John Paxson averaged double figures on 52% shooting, as the Bulls had a franchise record of 55 wins. Let's take a look at the basic offensive stats per 100 possessions, considering the changes in pace and playing time. Jordan averaged more points as he entered the NBA with more weapons. He compiled more assists and turnovers than Kawhi, as he had the ball in his hands for a much longer time. Speaking of their shooting, although MJ shot the ball more, his field goal percentage was still better than Kawhi's. Despite earning more trips to the charity stripe, Michael still managed to have the same success rate at the foul line as Kawhi. The three-point shot wasn't an important part of his game, as he averaged under 2 attempts per 100 possessions. Looking at some advanced stats, it is clear that Jordan wins the comparison in the detailed offensive metrics. Although Michael took more shots from the field and more free throws, it is impressive that he almost had the same shooting efficiency as Kawhi. With this section coming to a close, it is safe to say that Michael was the better player on the offensive end. At age 27, both Michael and Kawhi had the reputation as possessors of the clutch gene. However, both guys had some downs as well. For example, Kawhi missed a free throw that could have given the Spurs the 2013 championship, and Jordan missed another free throw that could have eliminated the 1989 Cavs in Game 4. To make a comparison, let's use the available clutch data with 24 seconds or less remaining in the fourth quarter or overtime. Talking about go-ahead or game-tying shots in playoff games, Jordan shot 4 of 6 from the field compared to Kawhi's 3 of 6. Their resumes include iconic daggers that no NBA fan can ever forget. Speaking of the total number of game winners, Kawhi synced 9 winning field goals, and so did Jordan, who added clutch free throws to win 5 more games. At the end of this video, we can say that Michael Jordan had more individual success than Kawhi at age 27, especially because of the much longer time Leonard needed to reach the elite level. However, Jordan at the time wasn't proven championship material, and his situation reminded me of James Harden's, as both players won consecutive scoring titles and an MVP award, but failed to get past the conference finals. As for Kawhi, his run with the Raptors defeated all critics, labeling him as a system player and made him a proven champion as a superstar. That said, if I was a GM looking to win a championship soon, I would rather build my team around Kawhi Anthony Leonard. Do you agree with my thoughts? Does Kawhi Leonard have a chance to surpass Michael Jordan in the GOAT discussion? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you next time.